ladies and gentlemen. It is the last Sunday of the month. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolute populism on YouTube, Castbox, Up Live TV. It is the prodigious, the prominent of talking about industrialization, talking about feminism, talking about globalization, hydropolitics. We're supporting the UK government across all the sectors. Can you hear me loud and clear there on YouTube, Castbox? Thank you all for coming through. We're talking about May elections. May elections, absolutely. I'll try and turn my volume up. Speaker. Can you hear me loud and clear there on YouTube? Anyway, bonafide conservatism. We're talking about May the 6th election vote on May 2021. May this year, May the 6th this year. May 2021 polls will take a similar way to previous polls, but there will be differences as a result of coronavirus pandemic. On the 6th of May 2021, local polls will take place, including local elections in England and police and crime commissioner elections in England and Wales. The document describes how they will proceed in COVID-19 context from announcement to results, and then covers the four major areas that we are addressing: public health and social distancing, nations and campaigning, voting, the delivery of elections. The democracy's safety is paramount, and you are part of it. So it's important that we all make a vote. You've got your education and learning, supporting criminology. You've got your visas, your immigration systems, industrialisation, globalisation, your tax on your vehicles, your tax on industrialisation. Neoliberalism is a conservative government, a fair trade system. Neoliberalism is a fair trade system, and that's conservative. So when you vote at May the 6th elections, everyone listen in, you need to make a wise choice. Conservative were the first formed government for a reason, a real amid reason. We're talking about prodigious people for the party in the sector, the region. That's why they're there for generations upon generations upon generations, top of the government sector, because the growth of the parties just got bigger and better establishments. That's exactly why you need to make a wise political choice. Supporting feminism, supporting international Bill of Rights within equalities, supporting the BAME, Black, Asian, minority, ethnics, BAME, supporting Black Lives Matter, supporting different sexualities, same sex, LGBT, as equalities. So it's important that you make a wise vote. COVID in Wales. Lessons to learn on anniversary of first case. Wales could definitely have done things differently in tackling COVID-19, the health minister has said. Vaughan Geethan was speaking on the anniversary of the first recorded COVID case in Wales. An adult had tested positive on their return to Swansea. from northern Italy on the 28th of February 2020, a month before the UK went into the first lockdown. Ethan said, hindsight, ministers could have intervened more quickly. He said cases rose around February half term last year amid increased air travel in and out of the mainland Europe, as part of Italy and Spain become overwhelmed with cases. If you look back, you can see potential in making different choices. Looking forward, there are definite lessons to learn. He's told BBC Radio Wales Sunday supplement. Given your surveillance out of China, we knew there was a problem coming. Mr. Wuhan. But it was still the case that the advice to me was with the knowledge we had at this time. We think we gave you the right advice. My little joke phrases there, Mr. Wuhan, that's not a nice thing to litigate between nations, because we don't know. I still don't, me, or the likes me, you, or professors, I believe, don't really know where coronavirus was man-made. I'm a realist. I don't believe a scientific professor. Well, I mean, I've studied science. I don't believe they can know it's come from China. People say, well, they can notify it by different proteins in the coronavirus from what nation. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Do you know where my protein makeup of my body's come from? I'll tell you something now. No one would. No one would. I've got so much mixed orientation in my body. For saying that a scientific professor could gain my origination. They would never in a million years. Anyway, however, played Sumu leader Adam Price has previously said it was not enough for both UK and Welsh governments to argue they acted on the best evidence at the time. He said objections were raised at the time over being too slow into lockdown and coming out of the firebreak without a gradual approach. Welsh Conservative leader Andrew R.T. Davies wants a common framework of the UK COVID rules to be adopted going forward. Mr. Given said the COVID vaccine had offered the renewed hope. On Saturday, latest figures show more than 1 million vaccines have now been administered. In Wales, in the 12 weeks, the majority of care home residents and other target groups aged over 70 have had their first doses. So anyone listening had their first vaccination? My mum and dad had theirs the other day. They've had their vaccination. I haven't been called up yet. Soon to come, maybe the next couple of months. Who knows? I'm still on the waiting list. Are you on the waiting list? Have you had your vaccination? Please come forward and give me your spill. Thank you very much. Proclamation, news and gatherance, by the way. Shaken, not stirred. 2 sugars, please, Bob. Lovely. Mr. Given said testing hospital patients prior to discharge into care homes could have been introduced earlier. But he said the bigger factor was the size of the nursing homes and the measures that could have taken around other people visiting those homes. We could have a greater clarity of adherence to infection prevention and control measures across our care homes, said Mr. Given. One thing I will imply is my integrity. The thing what the government done is for the workers to go and have their COVID vaccination first with the care home people, occupants that are staying there. That is a phenomenal produce from the government's idea. Absolutely. We could have a greater clarity and adherence to infection prevention and control measures across our care homes, said Mr. Given. All of our things are elements where the government, the National Health Service, and care homes themselves have a role to play, but also the public too, because I do think it took a while for everyone to accept that it was serious as it was. Wales went in a short firebreak lockdown last autumn, and then current lockdown was introduced on the 20th of December in a bid to cut transmission rates. Data published by Public Health Wales on Saturday showed it's the first time All Wales, 22 local authority areas have recorded double-figure case rates at the same time, less than 100 cases per 100,000 people since September 6th. Stay-at-home rules banning all but essential travel and care home visits are due to be reviewed on the 12th of March. So, we are here. We're sharing this here. My heart and condolences go out to our loved ones and lost ones that have been lost upon the way. But we are here at the moment, living. We can be thankful that it wasn't us and the dads and nannies lost loved ones along the way. Overweight vehicles finding police phenomenal. The way they work in a pact, in a team. They're always out there litigating with troublemakers, drivers that are over exceeding speed limits, parking in the wrong spaces. They're out there. They're out there on foot. They're out there on car. They're out there on horseback. They're out there on motorbikes. They're out there. They're in your face. They're doing their job. Great job. Phenomenal team. Friday, February 19th, with officers based at Weybridge on Comet Way between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Officer checks on 18 commercial vehicles and heavy goods vehicles, HGVs. The vehicles were also checked for driving violations and other possible offences. 8 offences were identified and dealt with during the operation. This includes 4 formal prohibitions, 2 overweight vehicles prosecution notice, 1 dangerous condition prosecution notice, and 1 £300 graduated fixed penalty notice, the GFPN, for speed and distance. There's a tachograph offences. Several information prohibitions were also issued for overweight vehicles where drivers were able to move weight immediately, making the vehicle safe to drive. Sergeant Russell Jones of Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire and Hertfordshire Road Policing Unit said, driving an overweight vehicle is incredibly dangerous, which is exactly why it is illegal. You might not immediately realise the pressure it puts on your vehicle, but overloading means that the amount of it takes you to react to an emergency will be compromised due to the vehicle being unsustainable. I can be a first witness. Overweight in a removal van. Go around a sharp bend roundabout. You could pop the tyres and then the lorry could topple over, putting others' lives at risk. You can't be selfish. This could have absolutely devastating consequences and potentially be the cause of a fatal collision. Remember, if you are involved in a collision and are found to have been driving a vehicle, it could make your insurance policy void. As well as this, the current climate where emergency services resources are stretched due to the response to coronavirus, causing completely avoidable collisions, putting unnecessary pressure on NHS. Any of us NHS workers, you're working hard day in, day out, hand in hand with other workers, NHS staff, nurses, doctors, surgeons. You're in there putting your life at a vulnerable risk for others for COVID and other diseases. Please, if you're making essential journeys, consider the consequences of your actions and the way which your decision could impact others. Make sure you are driving safely. Think first, think safely, and now you're not putting yourself and all the other road users at unnecessary risk. Do not drive under sleep deprivation, under the influence of narcotics or alcoholism. Give yourself over 24 hours rest before you enter that vehicle after being in participation on either of those. Absolutely. Our road policing units officers carry out regular operations, both overt and covert, to target and identify road users who are not adhering to the law and or driving dangerously. Remember, because you can't see us, it doesn't mean we can't see you. To say lies and go to Chelmsford to visit a partner despite some woman's around 2 hours by car. A number of fines were given to police across south-east Essex this week who ignored lockdown rules. These include a 32-year-old who travelled from Southend to Hertfordshire, then claiming he was buying baby clothes and a baby monitor from a supermarket. A 40-year-old woman from Whaley who hosted an 18th birthday party, more than 15 people were all ran officers arrived. Shocking, isn't it? A 33-year-old from Colchester woman who travelled to Clay and a saxophonist. 6 men and a woman from were in a group of people aged from 61 to 4 at a baby shower in Grays. A 20-year-old woman, a man who drove Whitford to Great Dunmow to exercise his dog. 2 men, 18 and 19, who are among around 20 adults and young. February the 24th. That's very recent, wasn't it? Very, very recent. The government announcement its roadmap of lockdown on Monday. 19 cases in the county, a full one continued. Myanmar group deadliest day of protest. The gunfire was heard on the streets of the city of Dawei amidst continuing protests. Police have fired on protesters in Myanmar, killing at least 18 of the UN Human Rights Office says on the deadliest day of the anti-coup rallies. Deaths are reported in several cities, including Yangon, Dawei, and Mandalay, as police use live rounds and tear gas. Security forces began the violent crackdown on Saturday after weeks of largely peaceful protests against the 1st of February military takeover. Government leaders, including Aung San Suu Kyi, were overthrown and detained. Social media footage from Sunday showed protesters running away as police charged at them. Makeshift roadblocks being erected and several people being led away covered in blood. Police crackdown was explained on Sunday as co-op leaders sought a civil disobedience campaign, and that was shown no sign of ending. The people did not retreat. As I arrived at their gone, an ambulance passed. I heard one man had been shot. I ran to the location, and when I lifted him into the ambulance, I saw blood on the road and a homemade shield next to it. A bullet had passed through the shield. A few times later, more protesters occupied the road, blocking the area with shields and carts and readying themselves to take on the police. Many more arrived sitting down on the road and chanting. There are so many I couldn't see back of the crowd. 2 people were shot dead here and 1 was badly injured, but the people did not retreat. One thing I can't understand with any humanities, I'm being pragmatic, thinking outside of a septic humanities, how they act. I mean, why would you go to a protest of 100,000 people when the government and the law are saying do not leave your house? When you go to that protest and there's COVID out there, you're risking not only your life, but when you take it home, you're incompetent, incomprehensible, inappropriate human beings. You're taking the COVID home to your wife. You're taking COVID home to your son. You're taking COVID home to your daughter. You're taking COVID home to your mother. You're taking COVID home to your father. You know, these people are not. Where's the logic? Did you do 1 had 1 at school? 2 had 2? 3 had 3? Can you do the simple maths? Go and fight fire with fire, my friends. You're going to get burned. Why would you go to a protest? Why on earth would humanity go on a protest? What is happening on the United Nations Human Rights Office condemned the violence against protesters, saying it had credible information that at least 18 people have been killed on Sunday. More than 30 others have been injured just because the docile humanities going on a protest. Let's go to a protest. You know, it's football hooligans. We're going to go Millwall versus Chelsea, two biggest football hooliganism. You can take your kids to the game. You stick your kids in the middle of a world war. Are you like, come on, use your logic? You wouldn't go, would you? People, humanity. So I don't understand these people. We don't. The people of Myanmar have the right to assemble peacefully and demand the restoration of democracy. Spokesperson Mavina Shamdasini said, use of lethal force against non-violent demonstrators is never justifiable international human rights norms. Activists and medical workers said at least 4 people have been killed in the largest city of Yangon as police fired bullets, stun grenades and tear gas. The protesters remain defiant. If they push us, we will rise. If they attack us, we'll defend. We'll never kneel down to the military boots. Nyam Win Shane told Reuters. Another protester, Amy Koyor, told the AFP police started shooting just as we arrived. They didn't say a word warning. Some got injured and some teachers are still holding in neighbours' houses. I don't understand protests. What, you're not going to get your rights delivered by going to protest. All you can do is just put yourself at risk. Some demonstrators were herded away in police vans. In the southeastern city of Dawei, security forces moved to break up a rally. There are reports of live rounds being used. 4 people were killed in the city, activists told the BBC. I mean, there's protests in every given nation, in every constituency. Police are also cracked down on a large rally in Mandalay, where police used water cannon and fired into the air. 1 person was killed there, the BBC has been told. Protests have continued elsewhere, including the northeastern town in Lashio. The UN said deaths have been reported in Maek and Bago and Pokoki. The number of arrests since the protests began have not been confirmed. The Assistant Association of Political Prisoners Monitoring Group has put the figure at 850. But hundreds more appear to have been detained this week. Where is Aung San Suu Kyi? Myanmar's civilian leader has not been seen in public since the detained in the capital of Naypyidaw as the cult began. Her supporters and many international community have demanded her release as a restoration of the November election result that saw her National League for Democracy Party win a landslide. Ms Suu Kyi is scheduled to face court proceedings on Monday of charges of processing unregistered walkie-talkies and violating coronavirus rules, but her lawyer says he has been unable to speak to her. Military leaders justified the seizure of power by alleging widespread fraud in election claims dismissed by the Electoral Committee. The coup has been widely condemned outside Myanmar, prompting sanctions against the military and other punitive moves. Myanmar in profile. Myanmar is also known as Burma, become independent from Britain in 1948 from much of its modern history. It is under military rule. Restrictions began loosening from 2010 onwards, leading to 3 elections in 2015 and the installation of the government led by the veteran opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi for the following year. In 2017, militants from the Rohingya ethnic group attacked police posts, and Myanmar's army and local British mobs responded with a deadly crackdown, reportedly killing thousands of Rohingya. More than 500,000 of Rohingya fled across the border into Bangladesh, and the UN later called it a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. We go flux with the show, flux with the flow. There's no business like show business, but again, losing critical like show business. Coronation Street star Johnny Briggs dies at 85. We don't know if it's coronavirus, and it's not, could be just the fact old age or other underlying health conditions where the NHS staff are so busy with COVID cases. Actor Johnny Briggs, who played Mike Baldwin in Coronation Street for 30 years, has died at age 85. His family said he died peacefully after a long illness with family by his side and asked for privacy to remember the wonderful times we had. Briggs was made an MBE in the New York Year's Honours in 2007. The year after his character left the ITV soap. Baldwin's affair with Deirdre Barlow and his feud with her husband, Ken, were a long-running ratings and a hit for the show. Baldwin's affair for Deirdre Baldwin's affair with Deirdre Baldwin's affair with Deirdre Barlow and his feud with her husband Ken was long-running ratings hit for the show. Coronation Street colleagues have paid a tribute to Briggs, calling him a wonderful actor, and described Mike Baldwin as one of the most iconic characters in the street as ever known. William Roach, who played Baldwin's long-term rival Ken Barlow, said Briggs was a strong character who will be greatly missed. Mike Baldwin and Ken Barlow are arch enemies for many years, but as an actor, Johnny was impeccable, always good. I was so fortunate to have worked with him for so many years, he has said. Sue Nichols, who plays Audrey Roberts, said, "He was great. He was a great friend and always fun to be around. He played part of the Mike Baldwin so well that, despite a mic ducking and diving, you're always on his side," she said. Helen Worth, who plays Gal Platt on the Cobbles, said he was one of the street's most memorable characters. Sally Dimvia, who played Sally Webster, said what a wonderful actor he was, while Samia Longchamben, who plays Maria Connor, tweeted she had fond memories of working with him, describing him as a lovely man. Anthony Cotton, who plays Sean, said, "We all adored him," while former soap writer Phil Ford tweeted it was a very, very sad to hear of his death. And John Winston, managing director of continuing drama at ITV, said Briggs had been right at the centre of the show for years. When Mike Baldwin was in the scene, it was very hard to look at anyone else. Born on 5th September 1935 in Battersea in southwest London, Briggs was evacuated to the countryside during World War II before embarking on a career in the show business at the age of 12. After a break of 2 years service in Germany, the Royal Tank Regiment starting in 1953. He resumed his acting career, landing roles in several Carry On films and ITV police drama, No Hiding Place. It was not until 1976 that he landed his defining role as Mike Baldwin. As an uncompromising businessman in the soap, he fueled with Barlow, was caught up in love triangle with his wife Deirdre, played by Anne Kirkbride, who died in 2015. Later, Baldwin would die in his rival's arms after suffering a heart attack, finally killing off the character after 3 decades. The demise of Baldwin drew 12 million viewers and followed the character's battle to Alzheimer's, leading the actor to back a fundraising appeal to help those affected by the disease. Briggs won the British Soap Award for Lifetime Achievement 2006. In 1995, Briggs had a UK chart hit alongside Coronation Street co-star Amanda Barry with a version of Frank and Nancy Sinatra's Something Stupid. It also appeared on the stage and in films alongside the likes of Norman Wisdom, Dirk Bogarde and Tommy Steele. He married Caroline Sinclair in 1961 and had 2 children before the couple divorced in 1975. The same year, he married schoolteacher Christine Alsop, a marriage which produced for me time and time again. Typical approach I preach. Announced dead after emergency services rushed to Braintree Woodland. Several rushed to the Skits Hill area in Braintree following reports that the woman had been found unresponsive. Pictures taken at the showed the response units in the area, while there was also activity in the area near the railway bridge. Essex police have now confirmed dead at the scene. A spokesperson for the force said, we were contacted shortly before 5:30 on Saturday, February 27, following a report woman was found unresponsive. Braintree. This is almost in my constituency, very, very close by. It's quite a shock. We're hearing this news. Tragic, horrific news. Emergency, the woman was pronounced dead. Her death is not being treated as suspicious, and a file will be prepared for the coroner. That is who's big in the media, massive in the media. Talk about is always in the media. Conservative. Talking about the BAME, black, Asian, minority ethnics. We're talking about guess who's back? Rishi Sunak. Who's back? Rishi Sunak. Budget Rishi Sunak promises help as COVID restrictions ease. Back again. Rishi's back. Tell some friends. Chancellor Rishi Sunak has said he has prepared a budget that provides support for people as COVID lockdown rules are eased. At the earliest, restrictions in England are set to be fully lifted by 21st of June. Mr. Sunak said he would provide people during that period, but added that he wanted to level up with people about the shock to the economy caused by COVID. He dismissed told the Tory MPs he wanted to raise taxes now so he could cut them ahead of the next election. This comes as the government announced $5 billion to help street businesses. Meanwhile, Labour's shadow Chancellor, Annalise Dodds, accused the Chancellor of being focused on politics over protecting the economy. Sunak told that BBC's Andrew Marr the government had gone big and early when providing support to those who were hit by COVID at the beginning of the pandemic, and added there's more to come. The furlough scheme, which supports around 4.7 million people, is due to finish at the end of April, along with £20 weekly increase of universal credit. Mr. Sunak said he was focused on preparing a budget that support for people and businesses and families through the remaining stages of this crisis, and in line with easing of restrictions are set out by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. However, he's also said he wanted to be honest with the public about the pandemic's impact on the economy and clear about what the plan to address that is. He warned high levels of borrowing and meant that Britain is more intensive to interest rates changes and the debt could be rise indefinitely if borrowing continued after recovery. He said that making public finances sustainable, it is to happen overnight, but would not confirm newspaper reports. He was planning to freeze income tax thresholds and raise corporation tax in a bid to lower debt. Currently, people have to pay basic level of tax on everything they earn, $12,500 a year, and a higher rate of tax on any earnings of over £50,000. Freezing those thresholds would mean more people paying more tax as wages rose. Party politics asked whether he had privately told Conservative MPs he wanted to raise taxes now so he could cut them ahead of the next general election. And Mr. Sunak replied, I don't recognise that. Speaking to Sky News, he said, would like to be able to taxes for low people in general, but added he wanted to be responsible with people's money. Miss Dodd said Chancellor should follow what is in interest of our country, not party politics. Speaking on Sophie Ridge, she said Labour would look carefully at proposals on corporation tax, but added what we don't want to see right now is what the Chancellor is doing, particularly in relation to council tax. The imposition of additional costs at the point when our country is experiencing the worst economic crisis of any major economy. She also called on the Chancellor to confirm that the furlough scheme, around £20 increase to the universal credit, would be kept for as long as COVID-based restrictions were in place. During his interview, Mr. Sunak also defended his Eat Out to Help Out scheme, arguing that it protected jobs, but wouldn't say if he would receive the scheme when hospitality venues were work out to help out scheme as well. Mr. Sunak will lay out the government's tax and spending plans in his budget on Wednesday, at the time when public borrowing has led the highest national debt since 1963. Conservative former Chancellor Lord Clark has argued Mr. Sunak considered raising VAT, national insurance and income tax in order to repair the public finances. However, some Conservative MPs, including ex-Brexit Secretary David Davis, have warned against sunrises, and potential Tory rebels have been told they'll risk being kicked out of parliamentary party if they vote against the budget. Martin Beck, Senior Economic Advisor to the Economic Forecasting Group, EY Item Club, said repairing the public finances could wait and warned that premature fiscal. I am the prodigious Problem First. Please share, please subscribe. Sponsored by PSS Alarms. PSS Alarms, if you want security alarms around your business, around your homes, keeping your safety of your family paramount, you need to get in contact. Give me an inbox. You really need to think about your business safety. Works carried out through London, Hertfordshire, Essex, Sussex. Give me a message. I'll give you the contact details to get involved and get your property secure. I just want to say thank you for all coming through, supporting me time again. Back at the same time tomorrow. Like I say, send me an inbox. You want your good morning, Selena Davis. How are you there, my dear? Thank you, everyone supporting the show. I didn't realise my friend Selena come through. Anyway, guys, just want to say take care. One love. Have a wonderful day.